I'm talking with Shawn Twigg, who will be cycling across Iceland as part of the International Myeloma Foundation's research fundraiser, ICE, or the Iceland Cycling Expedition. My first question for you, Shawn, is how did you become involved with the IMF?
So when I was first diagnosed with multiple myeloma, my first, obviously like everybody else, I Googled for a minute. Then I retracted from that and started to actually look for meaningful information. And I found IMF and Health Tree to be the two places that where I could go for resources and up-to-date treatment options and things of that nature.
And what motivated you to participate in this cycling expedition in what promises to be across challenging terrain in Iceland?
So since fitness has always been a pretty important part of my life, but after my diagnosis in particular, I really rededicated myself to that. So my youngest daughter, she graduates from high school this week. Actually, that's why I'm a little disoriented. And I told myself and I told my family that once she graduated, we became empty nesters, that I would get more involved with IMF and the like. So that was, and then I came across the cycling trip, and what a better way to jump right in.
We really appreciate it. And what are you doing to prepare you said you're into fitness, but for this particular expedition, what are you doing maybe differently to train and adjust your lifestyle to get ready for this?
Right. So definitely added a little more biking up until the last couple of weeks. Since we've been in graduation mode. As far as fitness and cardio goes, I feel pretty comfortable. It's more about time in the saddle and making sure that feels okay.
Right,
So.
right. And maybe you haven't thought about this, but one day you will finish. And how do you plan to celebrate the accomplishments when you get back from Iceland, or while you're there with the other cyclists once you get to the end?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I've not put thought into that. I think the whole thing really is a celebration in a way. In 2020 when I was diagnosed, I didn't know that I would be able to do the things that I can do today. So whenever sometimes I find myself actually just doing any kind of an athletic, event or whatever the case, slightly overwhelmed by it, just because, like I said, it was 4 years ago that I wasn't feeling the way I feel now. So the whole thing will be a celebration. Something really neat that happened this past week. My oldest daughter, shared her my link on her gym's Facebook page, and one of the people that work there that she's known for quite a while now, her father also has multiple myeloma.
Wow.
So it gave me that link, and so that's why this particular trip is so much more than just the fundraising aspect to me. It's
Community building.
I'd never knowingly spoken to anybody else with multiple myeloma until we did our first Zoom call.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so that was pretty neat.
When you were diagnosed, were you familiar with what the disease was, or?
Oh no.
Oh, so it must have really been a shock for sure. Yeah.
Right, yeah, for sure. And it was right in the middle of COVID too, so.
Oh no! Oh wow!
Right. My oldest daughter, her senior year had been cut short. They were at home. And not going to school, and then of course I had to add to the dramatics of it all, and there we go.